The morning cycle on the Zorathian flagship began with its usual metallic hum. Doors slid open, armored steps echoed in the corridors, and the cold white lights brightened slowly, like a giant beast waking from sleep. But today, something in the air felt different. The soldiers were whispering more than usual. Their eyes kept drifting toward the command hall, and their voices dropped whenever they heard the slightest movement. Everyone knew something had happened to General Vale Raka last night. Everyone felt it, but no one dared ask. Rylan walked through the corridor with a nervous knot in his stomach. He did not sleep well. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the moment Vale jumped off the harmonic chair, her eyes flashing with shock and pain. He remembered her sharp growl, the way the energy pulse shook the room, and the expression that told him this was more serious than simple discomfort. "Please let her be okay," he muttered under his breath as he reached the command hall doors. They opened with a soft hiss. Inside the bridge, soldiers worked around glowing consoles, typing commands with long, sharp fingers. Holograms of star maps floated in the air. The huge front window showed the dark expanse of space dotted with distant stars. Everything looked normal, except for one thing. General Vael was standing, perfectly straight, completely still, and absolutely refusing to sit. Her posture was rigid, even for a Zorathian. Her jaw was tight, and she leaned slightly on her right leg, as if trying to hide pressure on the other. The muscles in her shoulders moved with little twitches, like she was fighting something inside. Rylan winced. He caused that. He stepped forward carefully. "General, I am here to check the equipment. About last night." Vile's eyes snapped toward him, sharp, icy, commanding. "Not here." Her voice was low and dangerous. Rylan immediately stood straight and nodded. The bridge officers pretended they heard nothing, but he could feel all of their ears listening. Fael turned back to her holographic display, trying to act calm and in control. But he saw it. Every time she tried shifting her weight to sit, her spine stiffened sharply. A faint tremor went down her legs. She gripped the table harder for support. She could not sit, at all. And if the crew noticed, her authority could crumble. Rylan swallowed and stepped back until he was beside the technical console. He pretended to check readings, but his eyes kept returning to her. The general was a warrior feared across 5 sectors, and now she was trapped by a mistake he caused. Minutes dragged by until the alert chime sounded. "High command message incoming." A bright hologram formed, an admiral with silver-scaled armor and cold yellow eyes. He looked at Vael. "General, sit. This briefing will be long." Rylan felt his heart drop. Vael froze. The bridge crew held their breath. She slowly lowered herself toward the command chair. Her face stayed calm, but Rylan saw her fingers tighten on the table. He saw the tiny shake in her right leg. Her breathing changed for 1 second. Sharp, controlled, tense. Then she touched the seat. A spark ran up her spine. She jolted upward instantly, a small growl escaping before she could hide it. The entire bridge fell silent. The admiral frowned through the hologram. "General, is something wrong?" Rylan squeezed his eyes shut. This was bad. This was very bad. Vael stood tall again, her voice iron hard. "No, the stabilizers are uneven. Standing will be more efficient." The admiral looked unconvinced, but continued the briefing. Rylan watched her stand the whole time, unmoving, unblinking, hiding every bit of pain behind a wall of discipline. Only someone who knew the problem could notice the tiny signs. Tension around her shoulders, the way she occasionally shifted her footing, the way her jaw clenched for half a breath. When the briefing finally ended, the hologram vanished. Vael lifted one hand sharply. "Everyone return to duties. Rylan Ward, follow." She walked toward the private tactical chamber with stiff, controlled steps. Rylan followed silently, feeling like a man walking into a storm. The door slid shut behind them. The second it sealed, Vielle turned on him. "Human." Her voice was low, deep, and filled with frustration she refused to show outside. "You did it wrong last night." Rylan's heart jumped. "General, I didn't mean to. Do you know what you have done to me?" She took one step closer. Even injured, she towered over him. "I cannot sit. Not in my quarters, not in the war room, not even for the high command briefing. Do you understand what that means?" Rylan swallowed hard. He was an engineer, not a warrior. But right now he stood face to face with a furious general who could break metal with her hands. "Yes," he said quietly. "I understand, and I'm sorry." Vielle paced the room, each step sharp but controlled. "I told myself it was a small mistake. I believed it would fade. But my nerves are still unstable. The pulse you triggered is still moving across my lower spine. The slightest pressure makes it strike harder." She pressed a hand to her lower back briefly, wincing before she forced the pain down. Rylan's worry deepened. "Let me check the system," he said softly. "I can fix it, I promise." Vielle stopped pacing and looked at him. Her dark eyes burned with contained anger, but under it, just barely, he could see fear. Not fear of pain. Zorathians did not mind pain. It was fear of weakness. Being unable to sit was not a small problem for a general. It was humiliation. She exhaled slowly. "You will fix it. But first explain why the harmonic chair reacted like that." Rylan walked to the nearby console and opened the calibration logs. "Your neural signature is stronger than any Zorathian officer I studied. Your nervous system generates twice the harmonics. The chair was meant to help you sync with the ship's stabilizers, but instead, it overloaded." Vielle crossed her arms. "The human design is flawed." "No," Rylan said quickly. "The design is fine, but it wasn't meant for someone with your strength. The chair didn't break, it reacted." Vielle looked away, clearly unsure whether to be insulted or flattered. Rylan continued. "I did the calibration the standard Zorathian way, but your body didn't follow standard patterns. It needs a more precise human adjustment." She turned her head slowly. "Explain." He opened a hologram of her neural scan from last night. Bright lights flickered along the lower spine. "This area is holding too much energy. If you sit, the pressure pushes all of it at once. That's why the shock is so strong." "And how do you fix it?" she asked. Rylan hesitated. "I need to recalibrate the chair manually while you sit." "I cannot sit." Vielle's voice cracked like a whip. "That's the problem," Rylan said gently. "There's no other way." She stepped closer again. Rylan felt her presence like a physical weight. "Human, listen carefully. If I sit in that chair again and the energy strikes harder, I could lose control in front of my soldiers. That can never happen." Rylan nodded. "I understand, and I won't let it happen. I'll control the harmonics myself. Slowly, carefully." Vielle stared at him for a long, silent moment. Then she said the last thing he expected. "I am trusting you, human. Do not fail me again." Her voice wasn't loud. It wasn't angry. It was something far heavier, a warrior giving someone a chance she didn't give easily. Rylan felt the weight of that trust hit him like gravity. "I won't fail you," he said quietly. Vielle turned away, walking toward the chamber exit. "We begin after the ship leaves the combat zone. Until then, no one must know about this." Rylan nodded. "I'll keep it secret." Suddenly, the ship shook violently. A deafening alarm filled the chamber. "Enemy fleet incoming, battle stations!" The lights switched to red. Soldiers shouted orders through the hall. The ship engines howled as they powered up shields and weapons. Vielle hissed under her breath. "Not now!" She straightened her posture, hiding every sign of pain, and marched toward the bridge. Rylan followed closely behind. The crew snapped to attention as she entered. "General on deck!" Vielle took the command position, standing, gripping the table tightly with one hand. She didn't show fear. She didn't show weakness. She didn't sit. But Rylan could see the tension in her muscles. Every vibration of the ship sent small jolts through her nerves, but she refused to react. The enemy fleet appeared on the main screen, dozens of ships. Vielle's voice cut through the noise like a blade. "Prepare to engage. Follow my orders exactly." Rylan, standing beside the technical console, watched her in awe. Even injured, even fighting her own body, she commanded the bridge like a storm given shape. Every order was sharp, every movement controlled, every choice perfect. For a moment, Rylan forgot the fear and the guilt. He simply admired her strength. Minutes passed like hours. The enemy ships fired. The Zorathian flagship shook again and again, but Vielle stayed firm. Her hand gripped the table harder each time, but she never leaned, never bent, never showed pain. Only Rylan knew the truth. After a long, intense battle, the enemy fleet retreated. The room erupted in relieved cheers. Vielle did not cheer. She exhaled slowly, letting the pressure ease for just 1 second. She turned her head and met Rylan's eyes. Her voice was quiet, almost tired. "We fix this. Today." Rylan nodded. The war was over for now, but their real challenge was just beginning.